Hey, all my movie maniacs. Well, the film that everybody was hating on a year before it came out is finally here, and everyone is definitely hating on it, and for some decent reasons I can see. And yes, we are talking about Fantastic Four. Josh Trank, the guy who brought us a really entertaining film, one of my actually favorite found footage films, and that's a genre that's a hard sell on me. Chronicle gives us the story of five people who end up fall victim to a science experiment accident and end up gaining superpowers, powers beyond control. And the four, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, end up trying to deal with their special superhero powers, while Victor Von Doom decides that the human race isn't worth the price of spit, and he comes from the altered dimension which he was trapped in to destroy our world and create one of his own. And we see how these clash in Fantastic Four. I'm going to put this out right now, folks. The severe hate that this film is getting shows you how much people are invested in there and take serious their comic book films. Now, for me, I put out some serious hate for the Vacation film, so I can understand where you're coming from as far as a comic book film and how this film it may cause you to really hate it and despise it. But for me, I enjoyed 2/3 of this film. I really did. I enjoyed the character setup, the different feel. This did not feel like a regular Marvel film, and for obvious reasons, it was put out by Fox Studio, so, you know, it wasn't from Marvel Studios. But even that, I liked the approach they were taking with this exploration in characters. People seem to forget that each one of those characters, like in the Avengers and that, had to have their setup done, okay? You know, they had their own films to set up their characters, so when you get a group together like of superheroes like that, hey, all right, we already know them. Guardians of the Galaxy is a little bit different, but at the same time it took place in space, and we learn about those characters because that film was longer. Here, this film was only 98 minutes, and it could have used at least another half hour, I think. The ending really felt rushed. Now, these characters, Miles Teller playing Reed Richards, you got Kate Mara playing Sue Storm, Michael B. Jordan, who I wish we would have got to see a lot more of his character on screen, playing Johnny Storm, and then Toby Kebbell playing Victor Von Doom, and then Jamie Bell playing Ben Grimm. All of them do very well. I liked their characters. I wanted to see more of their characters. Well, the Von Doom character, not so much, but Marvel movies in general, their villains have been a bit weak, so that I didn't take quite serious. But these four core heroes, I thought they set up very well, and he needed time to give you their stories. You know, and the fact that it takes place on Earth makes it a little bit harder sell for some of their powers and such, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But really, for me, I enjoyed the setup of the characters. Now, it was, like I said, this film is 90% setup and 10% payoff, and that payoff wasn't really very well, you know, it felt rushed. When these four finally clash with Victor Von Doom, Mr. Dr. Doom, when they finally clash with him, it seems rushed, it seemed chopped, it seemed like we were missing a bunch of stuff in there. I mean, his motivation really seemed hacked, to be sure, and it almost felt like the studio was like, oh crap, this is going too long, we gotta cut it up, when it would have been great to extend this out. Now, it does get dark, and maybe the darker tone is not sitting well with some folks. The darker tone of, especially when Dr. Doom shows up and he starts offing people, there's blood. It gets bloody. It's kind of intense, and I didn't expect that in a good way. I enjoyed that bit of it. Now, the look of Dr. Doom, well, everybody's been hating on that all along, and I will say I would have liked to see a bit of a different design for him, but he was pretty doggone scary with the powers he had. The special effects in here, they are all over the place. Some of them look decent. I really enjoyed them and how they looked, especially with the way Thing looked, regardless of whether or not he's wearing pants. Seriously, folks. But, you know, then there were parts with like a CGI monkey in that just looked awful. The film is a mess. Don't get me wrong. I will admit that. But I don't think this film was as bad as Batman and Robin. I don't think this film deserves the extreme amount of hate that it's getting. But again, I'm not as invested in comic book films as many of you out there. And again, I was invested in the original Vacation, and I really hated that. So, Yeah, the Fantastic Four I give 2 stubs. It's there. It's not extremely horrible, but the payoff really isn't worth the trip. And I am wrong. I'm sure a lot of you out there will let me know. And some of the spoiler crew may let me know as well, as we talk about in depth, do a spoiler room episode based discussing this exact film, Fantastic Four. Make sure you look for it on iTunes later this week, as well as specialmarkproductions.com, where I'm sure I will get lambasted for not completely hating this film. And I'm sure, please leave your comments down below, and I'll get that, as well as being lambasted for not totally hating this film. And that's what great thing about movies is. They are all subjective. Everybody goes in expecting something different, or gets something different out of them, and that's what I love about them. And I love the fact you've all subscribed to my channel. If you haven't yet, please do so. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep that ticket stub.